Hello. Sorry, that was like a really slow start, but today's January 8th, 2024. Oh boy. Today is oh boy. Today is the day. The day to decide my fate for like the next 400 trillion years. Michigan's going to play in the national championship, and if you don't know much about football, just know that this opportunity doesn't come around too often, at least lately, since I've been alive. And I'm about to turn 22. So that's really all the perspective you need. And, you know, today I've sort of been suffering as a bit of a consequence of this thing. My nerves are absolutely shot. We're about 6 hours till kickoff. When this goes up, it'll be more like 2.5, 3 hours. Nonetheless, you might even be watching this already knowing the result, and if that's the case, then don't spoil it for me, you know. But yeah, it might sound silly, but like this genuinely will have implications on my mental fortitude. I'm trying my best to prepare for it. In the sense of like, all right, be prepared to lose and all that sort of thing. It's not that I'm trying to be negative. It's just for the betterment of myself. It's like I need to be prepared to lose. But sort of leading into this, after today, this nasty little wiry long neck beard thing is gonna be gone. At first I was growing it out for fantasy football playoffs, and then I lost, but I figured I'd keep it out of superstition for Michigan. I didn't shave and we beat Alabama, so I'm not shaving today. I'm not shaving. But no matter the result, I will shave it off tomorrow. And that's sort of what I wanted to really talk about here today is superstition. It's a good song by Stevie Wonder, but no. I was thinking about it earlier today. I was like, I didn't realize that I've kind of slowly but surely become more of a superstitious person. And, at first glance, prima facie, if you want to get philosophical with it, at first glance, I think that that's like a contradiction of my beliefs. I'm agnostic at best, if not atheist, and like superstition believes that it automatically implies that something else is working, something else has a hand in the balance of the functions of the world and all that good stuff, you know what I mean? But I realized that like I have been doing things, whether consciously or subconsciously, out of like superstition. Like fantasy football is a good example. Like I would tell my friends good game before the game was over if I felt that I was going to lose. And like ironically, it kind of worked out for me. Like it's kind of like an 80% hit rate, I would say. And yeah, I don't know. Am I at a spot in life where I'm desperate? Am I resorting to superstition? Because I think there is something to be said about being religious, and there's a level of desperation involved. And now I hope that's not offensive to anyone. I don't blame anyone for being religious, and I do believe that religion can have some positive sort of outcomes. I didn't want to say consequences again. So please don't get offended. I know that sounds like a low blow, but it's not. It's just I'm being a silly goose. But no. Life has been harder lately, and it's like, the consequences of my actions are of great magnitude. What type of effort I put into each and every day is going to have more implications for the rest of my life than they would have when I was like 14, for example. That's just the plain and simple truth. And so like a slide to superstition in that regard logically makes sense that I wouldn't have even really thought about it, because life has been stressful. Life has been sort of this thing where I feel under the microscope, not of really any outside forces, but of myself. Um, and I don't know, it's not a bad thing. I'm putting pressure on myself in a good way for the most part. I think that I do put negative pressure on myself to a certain extent, but most of the pressure I'm putting on myself, I feel, is warranted. Um, I don't know. I think life is a gift, if you want to call it that. And I come from a privileged background, so to speak. I'm not rich or anything, but I am middle class. And I know that probably makes you think that, oh, he's rich. But no, I promise. I promise. I live in an apartment right now with my mother. No disrespect to my mom, no disrespect to my family, but it's a 2-bedroom apartment, like 1,500 square feet. Like, I'm telling you, I'm middle class. But nonetheless, I come from a privileged background. And so, for me to be able to say that life is a gift, I know can have some, objections. So, that's where I'm coming from. That's the context. If you can't tell, I'm nervous. um, I'm getting back to superstition. You know, I want to make the most of this life. And, am I going to put in an effort not to be superstitious? I don't know. I do think it's good that I'm acknowledging this right now. And, I want to have as much control and not leave it up to superstition and, signs and things like that as much as possible. I was thinking about this last night. A lot of the times when I look up at the night sky, I see Orion's belt. And, I'm not an astrologist. I don't know which time of year Orion's belt is out where I live and whatnot. But whichever time of year that I can see Orion's belt for my location on the planet, I look up and there it is. Like, I'm not trying to. I don't know where the constellation's going to be. I just look up and it's there. And, like, that's always, I don't know if that's superstition. It could be. But, like, there's just been a lot of stuff like that going on. And, I could turn it around. I could flip it on its head and say that, oh, when I see Orion's belt, it's a reminder, like, there's things in your control. There's things outside of your control. Navigate that dichotomy and exist to the fullest. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. It is weird. I haven't looked in. I don't like astrology, and I meant to say astronomer earlier. I apologize. But I'm not big into astrology. Like, I don't think Orion's belt has anything to do with my star sign or anything like that. And I refuse to look it up because, that's superstition, in my opinion. If you disagree, let me know. But I'm busting out all my fidget toys. This is gonna be such a hard watch, probably. But no, superstition's the word of the day. And I'll be superstitious tonight for sure. In fact, I am, because my family's watching it at my uncle's house. And we've been watching it at my grandma's house the whole season for the most part. Like, whenever we get the chance, which is 65-70% of the time. So there's that. So I was already, like, expressing concerns. Like, we need to probably watch it at Gigi's house. But no, we'll go to my uncle's. I'll try to have a good night. I'm going to get picked up by my grandparents so that I can have a few drinks. I'm going to need to. And yeah, that's that. There's not a whole lot left for me to say. My nerves have been shot the whole day, so I haven't done much, but I'm going to try to now. Go to the gym, make some TikToks for the soccer podcast, and read a book and things like this for the next few hours. Yeah, wish me luck tonight, y'all. I'm going to need it for my mental sanity. Last week I could hardly even handle the Michigan versus Alabama game, so we'll see about tonight. I refuse to make predictions here. My mind just went there, but I refuse. I'm not going to. The only thing I will say is that Michigan's Washington's probably a slightly easier opponent to face in Alabama. I said it. Superstition. That ending was ironic enough, so there it is. I'm done.